Hello everyone, I'm Kevin, otherwise known as 4MBX257, here to bring you another 1980s G.I. Joe tour review. And today, instead of an action figure or vehicle review, I'm going to be doing the G.I. Joe and Cobra Battle Gear accessory pack sets. There are 6 of these, issued between 1983 and 1988, basically one per year. And what they are supplementary weapons and accessories for the figures. In 1983, we get our first Battle Gear accessory pack carded set. Now, mine has the English and French from the Canadian issue, but it is exactly the same as the US version. You'll notice that in the corner it says official. I'll get back to that in just a moment. Inside, what you get in the card is this. It's 25 pieces, or 24 depending on whether or not you count the bipod as part of the machine gun, as it does on the contents list on the back of the card. They are all 1982 sourced accessory molds, except for the 2 battle stands, and this is the first time we actually get these. The only other way to get them would be through the small playsets, which would be issued from 1984 and onwards, and then after that we would finally get them through the figures themselves, issued from 1991 and onwards. But again, this is really the only way you get these battle stands, and they are kind of unique. They actually do have the copyright information on the bottom, unlike the ones from the playsets, which have nothing on the bottom. And while these are all recolored, even the weapons are recolored from the original figures, what isn't recolored and is exactly the same as issued figures are the clear visors. You get these 4 clear visors, and I know some collectors have said that the clear visors in the accessory packs seem to be a little bit cloudier than the ones issued with the figures, but that's not my understanding. I have mint on card sealed figures from this era, and they have the cloudiness on the visors as well. And here's a comparison between the Battle Gear accessory pack accessories versus the original issues as they were issued with the figures. Now, it's very obvious that the various shades of green are nothing like the various shades of brown and tan that we have here, but the weapons are very close to the same shade of color. Now, this may look like it's black, but it's actually an extremely dark gray on the originals, whereas on the Battle Gear accessory packs, they're also a dark gray, but with a slight hint of greenish to them. And here I'm just using Snake Eyes accessories as an example here, with the originals being on the left and the Battle Gear accessory pack versions being on the right. Well, it's very easy to argue that, you know, the originals are very expensive and hard to find, so putting the accessory pack versions with a Snake Eyes, if you just don't want to pay the extra amount for original accessories, is perfectly fine. But you do have to understand that some sellers really don't understand the difference between these two, and if you don't have them side by side like this, you can't see the color difference, especially in photographs which don't have the best lighting. Now, I'll freely admit to being a snob originally when it came to the Battle Gear accessory packs in general. I consider them to be a little bit too confusing for new collectors, and quite frankly, I was a bit fed up with sellers mixing and matching different Battle Gear accessory packs with original figures and calling them quote-unquote complete. To me, that's not complete, that's just a custom figure, to be honest. But in my old age, I think I've mellowed out a bit, and as you can see here, I've outfitted my 1983 Tan Grunt, who is a glider pilot and only came with a helmet, with some accessories here. And while most people would actually have given him the reissue Grunt rifle and reissue Tan Grunt backpack, which goes very well with the tan plastic that he's made out of, here I've made a completely new character who is just a desert laser rifle trooper. Hasbro had a policy to reissue figures and vehicles from the previous years to bulk up the current offerings, and that's what they've done in 1984. But unlike a lot of the other stuff, here we have a packaging change to indicate that. And while the brand new one is called Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 2, here the 1984 re-release of the original is now called Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 1. Now, I know a lot of listings actually call Balgear Accessory Pack number 1 the 1983 offering, but while that's a very easy way to list it, and I understand that's kind of an efficient way of listing it, it's not entirely correct. The one labeled official, like I mentioned before, that's the 83 issue, and this one is the 84 issue, despite the fact that none of the items inside the bubbles have changed. Now, let's take a look at Balgear Accessory Pack number 2, released in 1984. Balgear Accessory Pack number 2 consists of mostly 1983 figure accessories remolded in different colors, but there are a few 1982 holdovers, like the standard helmets, the bazooka, the two-piece mortar, and of course the two Cobra weapons, all of which were missing from the previous issue. And once again, unique to the Balgear accessory packs were the battle stands for the figures. Now, there are 3 Balgear accessory packs which actually had brown plastic battle stands, so if you're wondering which one is which, the copyright date on the bottom corresponds to the year that it was released. The number 2 was released in 1984, so it has a 1984 copyright stamped on the bottom. And here we have Balgear Accessory Pack number 2 versus how they were originally issued with the figures. And there's no mistaking one for the other. Balgear Accessory Pack number 2 has radically different colors. Now, there is no unifying color theme to Balgear Accessory Pack number 2. Like the first one is almost like a desert theme, whereas this we have like blues and grays and really vibrant dark green and brown. So I'm not really sure what they were going for here, but the gray and blue makes a really fine addition to any snow serpent that you might have. So you can have a snow serpent who is a mortar soldier or a bazooka man. Now here's one instance where I think the Balgear Accessory Pack version of the original accessory might be slightly superior. Here I have the Venom laser pistol from the 1984 mail-away Hooded Cobra Commander. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with this slightly dark gray, almost black plastic, the fact of the matter is that the Venom pistol, which came with Balgear Accessory Pack number 2, is dark blue, much like the plastic for the figure. And while this spot that he has it on his back is really meant to be a charging port for the laser, honestly, with the dark blue blending in with the rest of his outfit, it looks more like he's hiding the weapon on him. In 1985, we get Balgear Accessory Pack number 3, which contains these accessories. As you can see, what we've got here are mostly 1984 figure accessory remolds, except for the 1983 torpedo harpoon gun, and of course the unique battle stands. But again, just like the previous Balgear accessory pack, I'm not sure what they were going for as for the colors that they've chosen for these remolds. And now to compare Balgear accessory pack number 3 to the original issued accessories from the figures. Now, as you can see, they are radically different in color, but I do have to warn you that the top 4 accessories, these 2 tan backpacks and 2 tan rifles, when they discolor, they tend to darken a little bit and can look like the light green of the originals. It's just something to be aware of. Of course, Balgear Accessory Pack number 3 is actually rather famous for one accessory, and that is the Firefly walkie-talkie done in red plastic. Now, some collectors actually do like the red plastic because it looks more like a detonator or something a little bit more appropriate that Firefly would carry around rather than, just him on a cell phone or something. But as you can see, the original is green, and that's really a rare piece, and you get top dollar for that with a complete figure. Whereas this is a very, very common piece and should not get 100% of aftermarket value. One thing which I did kind of forget to mention is the odd visors which I have on these. As you can see, the visor actually has a little notch. So this isn't a visor which is actually issued with any figure. Here we have the Thunder visor, and it's clearly based on this, but this visor with the notch in the nose has a hole through it. It doesn't clip on directly to the helmet the way these ones do. 1986 seemed to be the year of Cobra, and Bal Gear Accessory Pack number 4 was no exception to that. In the corner here, which is kind of hard to see because my bubble is kind of ripped off, it actually had an exclusive missile system. But as you can see, all it was the 1984 Scrap Irons 7-piece missile system, just done in different colors. And here we have accessories sourced from all Cobra action figures, done in red, white, and blue, which I will not comment on any further. However, this is actually one of the more popular Bal Gear accessory packs simply because of what has been copied here. We have stuff straight from 82 up to 85. Those are, of course, the prime years and cover some very popular Cobra action figures. Of course, we have yet another version of the 1984 Firefly walkie-talkie, which is fairly rare, and a lot of other small accessories, such as Cobra Commander's gun once again, this time done in light blue, which I guess would match the light blue of his first issue. One thing that I do want to point out, however, which is fairly strange, and that is the white plastic AK-47 originally from the 1982 to 1983 Cobra Officer. Some people have actually mistaken this for the 1989 variant Python Patrol Soldiers AK-47. Now, as you can see here, they're not the same, and the gray should actually match closer to the gray of the paintwork used on the figure itself. So anytime you see a gray AK-47, it is exclusively the variant to the Python Patrol figure from 1989. So sometimes I've actually seen this in a lot of Bal Gear accessory packs and it doesn't belong there. And sometimes I've seen the figure with the Bal Gear accessory pack AK-47 and that clearly does not go with him. And here we have Bal Gear accessory pack number 4 versus how they were originally issued with the figures. And you can see that they are radically different in color. One very interesting thing about the missile system, however, is that on the card art, as well as the prototype photographed in the catalog for Scrap Iron's missile system, the missiles were actually blue, not red. So swapping these around will actually get you a prototype Scrap Iron. In 1987, we get Bal Gear accessory pack number 5, which features mostly G.I. Joe issued equipment, but we get 2 Cobra accessories here. In the same year, we get Vehicle Gear accessory pack number 1. These were so unpopular that there actually is no other version. There's just no accessory pack number 2 ever released. However, I'm not going to be discussing this set here. This will get its own review video in the future. Bal Gear accessory pack number 5's color scheme is actually mostly good, with a lot of dark browns and dark grays, which actually match some of the figures. However, we get this butter yellow for 3 of these accessories, and quite frankly, I don't see a use for them. They're just hideous in color, and they just don't go with anything. Now, for years now, my wife has been claiming that I'm colorblind, and I think that this set actually proves it. Now here's Bal Gear accessory pack number 5 versus the accessories issued with the figures. Now these are mostly 1986 issued accessories, except for the crankcase helmet remold. Here it's gray in the original and is brown in the new version. A while back, when I had done my Crossfire vehicle and driver Rumbler review, I had claimed that the 1987 re-release of the crankcase helmet was exactly the same as the one issued with the figure. And to my naked eye, these look exactly the same. However, a lot of people, even looking at the video, have claimed that the plastic used for the Bal Gear accessory pack is actually a darker brown. I can't see that with my naked eye, but apparently the one on this guy's helmet is actually a lighter brown. So I do apologize for that. It's just that I really can't see the difference. And that is the exact same thing with Mainframe's accessories. To my naked eye, these 2 accessories, his backpack and his computer, look exactly the same. However, on the computer monitor, I can actually see the difference. It is a very slight difference, but you can see in my right hand, these accessories are slightly darker. So the originals are always going to be a lighter gray. And in 1988, we get the final set released, Cobra Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 6. And this is what we get inside. A lot of accessories based on Cobra action figure accessories. Now, honestly, I don't really have a problem with the color scheme. And while the brown seems more like something that G.I. Joe would have rather than Cobra, the majority is, of course, blue and silver, which is quite nice. However, for the first time, we actually get these black hoses, which are standard with G.I. Joe figures from 1985 and upwards. So they could actually be used for G.I. Joe figures, but they're actually meant for Dr. Mindbender's generator here, and of course the Televiper's backpack. Stuff here is molded from figures from 1985 through 1986. And it's actually a fairly popular set. Just like Cobra Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 4, this contains a lot of small parts from very popular figures, which often go without accessories because they're very hard to find and actually bump up the aftermarket value for those figures, such as the Eels parts and the Snow Serpent parts. And here is Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 6 as compared to the accessories as they were issued with the figures. And as you can see, the colors are radically different and there's no way you should be mistaking one for the other. However, I did make a mistake in saying that this is mostly 85 and 86 reissues, forgetting Battle Armor Cobra Commander's pistol here, who is the lone 1987 item in this mix. There are no known variants of the accessories themselves, just changes to the card backs. Like the carded action figures, the packages for the Battle Gear sets showed a different cross-sell character roster on the backs, which was updated depending on which year the set was released. But for the true variant hunters, there are 3 cards to look out for. Battle Gear Accessory Packs number 3 and 4 have errors that occurred in early 1986. They're missing the G.I. Joe logos on the back. The third variant is the Battle Gear Accessory Pack number 5 card back, released in early 1987. These have the rare explosion graphics blocking out some of the character roster.